You're listening to the Wellness Works podcast with Dr. Chris McCluskey. This podcast takes you on a journey of lifelong health and wellness. We talk to top health experts and explore the real truth you're not always hearing about, the options you have to beat sickness and disease. And now, your host, Dr. Chris McCluskey.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Wellness Works podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Chris McCluskey, your Metro East chiropractor and wellness expert. We're starting to take stride with this podcast, and we're sort of have a theme of having some incredible guests to come and share with you their stories of healing and health and wellness. And we've had many motivational messages, inspiring messages, and hopefully educational, so that you guys can actually take the 8 to 10 to 12 minutes or whatever, however long our podcasts take. They're all a little bit different, but you can actually take some information and apply it to your own life. That's what this is about. This is not a fictional podcast. This is nonfiction, meaning these are all factual, very real, very true, very workable stories and pieces of information. And today I'm just so excited to introduce our guest. His name is Jim Chester. And Jim is an awesome, unique, incredible individual out of Denver, Colorado. His passion in life is to send people to chiropractors and to get the chiropractic message out to the masses so that they too can realize the benefits of all natural health care, much like he has. Now, Jim is 37 years old. He's already accomplished more in his life than most people do in a lifetime. He's motivated, he's enthusiastic, and I believe some of the things he's going to share today are going to be some things that you guys can take advantage of immediately. So, Jim, can you hear me, sir?
I can. It's a clear feed.
Man, thank you so much for joining our podcast. Jim does several different things, but we're going to focus on really three things. One is he actually markets for chiropractors out in Denver, Colorado. So imagine this layperson who's educated himself on the chiropractic profession and what it is we actually do for people. Not what people think we do, the neck and back pain model, but the fact that we're actually experts in function of the human body, whether that be neurological function or biochemical function or even emotional function. But so Jim has sent, I'm going to let him share the number with you. The amount of new patients he's driven to chiropractic offices in the last year is nothing short of remarkable. He's produced, I'm not sure the terminology, you can help me out with this, Jim, directed, produced, founded, I don't know what you want to call it, an important documentary that we want you all to take advantage of. And finally, we're going to talk about his future podcast. It's going to be coming up. So, Jim, could you just share with us a little bit about who you are and why you do what you do, please?
Sure. First of all, I want to thank you for having me on your podcast today. And I'll go right into who I am and what I do. So my name is Jim Chester, originally from Davenport, Iowa. Been a chiropractic patient for 21 years. And what I do now, over the past year, I became a independent chiropractic marketer / screener. And I've driven 955 people to chiropractic offices in the Denver metro area this past year. I have directed Chiropractic, the documentary, which took just over 2 years to develop and to produce. And in the future, I have a project called Jim Chester, the Chiropreneur, which will be a podcast launching sometime early this year.
That is incredible. You guys hear that? 955 new patients in the last year. I mean, break that down. That's, just under 100 new patients a month. I think the national average for chiropractors themselves is about 10 to 15 new patients a month. So this is really incredible. You mentioned that you directed a documentary. Could you share with us about that project?
Yeah, I became so inspired about the healing process of what chiropractic gives people. And I realized I was on repeat mode. Like if you hit a button on your replay mode, I was always telling people, this is what a subluxation is. This is what abnormal curves in the spine will do to you. And I got fundamental training in chiropractic biophysics out of Chicago and further that when I moved to Denver. And I started realizing that it's more about human potential and less about symptoms. And, throughout the whole process, I decided I was going to make a film. And my background's in marketing and journalism. I got a degree in that in college. And I realized that if I kept on telling people the same story over and over and over, I might as well do an inspired job of it and make a documentary film out of it. So what we did is we followed 3 patients under care for 90 days. We touched on the historical effects of chiropractic. We touched on a few other topics within the chiropractic profession. You don't have to watch the film to get all those. But our outlook was to just get people more educated on what real chiropractic was.
Well, I think you're certainly thinking outside the box. I love to hear fresh, innovative thinkers. I'm going to share this spoke in private, but, Jim actually talked about his ideas to some people who've been around the profession for a long time. And as many of you know, chiropractic's been around for 100 years. And, Jim hails from Davenport, Iowa, which is known as the founding place of chiropractic. And we've just really limited ourselves from a market share standpoint because of lack of clarity in getting the message out to the masses. And so I just want to commend Jim on not accepting no for an answer and saying, you know what, if I want to direct a documentary and get it out to the masses, well, that's just what I'm going to do. Listen to this. He didn't even have a Facebook 1.5 years ago, and he's got over 5,000 followers at this time. Thousands of people have already watched this documentary. Most people don't even know about it. So I have no doubt in my mind this is going to reach millions, and I just feel so honored to have him on our podcast. Now, you mentioned something. You mentioned the word human potential. I'd like to dive into this concept of human potential because I believe that everybody deserves to maximize their human potential. And many people are trying to maximize their human potential by going to the gym more or reading more books or going on a diet. And though some of these things might be beneficial in maximizing human potential, ultimately human potential lies in the central nerve system, doesn't it, Jim?
It really does. And I appreciate you asking this question because it really means a lot to me. And I think that if more people just realize some of the fundamental principles of chiropractic are actually health. If you want real health, then you understand these principles. And I learned them throughout the process of making this film. I mean, I had around 50 experts in the field that I got a chance to interview for this film. And I realized there's a few components that really matter. And I don't know who coined these phrases or whose terms these are, but you got to eat well, you got to think well, you got to move well, and you got to get adjusted. And at that point, it encompasses reading. It encompasses going to the gym. It encompasses building healthy, positive lifestyle choices and relationships. And at that point, if your central nervous system is functioning through specific chiropractic adjustments, then you're optimized your life and your health and your well-being, and you mean that much more to everyone around you and yourself.
And that's great insight. So what we're hearing is a mentor of mine, Patrick Gentempo, says wellness is a fraud without chiropractic. So not to beat a dead horse here, but if you're not getting regular adjustments, isn't it safe to say then it really is impossible to maximize your human potential, Jim?
Well, I think as I've also found is we live through our nervous system. And a lot of times what I do when I'm doing a screening event or I'm out there talking to the public is I let them know that it's an up level. The up level is chiropractors will optimize your nervous system with chiropractic adjustments. But the best thing about that is it boosts your immune system. And so many people don't really correlate chiropractic adjustments with immune function. And what I've come to realize is that when I start connecting the dots for people about what chiropractic really is, that it's not about pain and it's not about symptoms, it's about functionality and their human potential. And when you up-level them to say, all right, so we can help you with this, but do you know what we'll really help you with? We'll help you with staying healthy long-term.
Yeah, that's so important. I mean, health is about function. And the last podcast we released was titled, What is Health? And we really boiled it down, Dr. Naputi and I did too. Health is really defined by the body's ability to adapt to stress. And your immune system or your immune function is one of the main systems that's adapting to the stresses around you. So that's just great information. We really appreciate everything that you do. We're going to take a pause here for our Natural Mom Minute. This is a segment we added a couple podcasts ago, and it's getting rave reviews. So we want to introduce Karen Acock. Karen, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Chris, and welcome to Natural Mom Minute. Today I'm talking about quinoa. You know, everyone is looking for gluten-free options, and quinoa is actually a seed from a vegetable that's related to Swiss chard, spinach, and beet. It looks and feels like a grain, but it's not, and it has amazing health benefits. It's high-quality protein, so if you're a vegan, you're always searching for different sources of protein. It's also a great source of riboflavin. It's alkaline forming, and it's gluten-free. Quinoa naturally has a soapy film, so be sure to rinse it in a strainer until there's no more suds. You can search online for great recipes and enjoy quinoa, gluten and guilt-free. And remember, guys, your health depends on you.
Oh, that's incredible. Thank you, Karen, for sharing another piece of valuable information that you guys can put into work in your own daily lives, even today or tomorrow. So, Karen, thank you so much for sharing. We're going to look forward to hearing your Natural Mom Minute on our next podcast. Jim, let's go ahead and finish this cast up by talking about a future project that you have in the works, and it's actually a podcast. You know, podcasting is becoming a very popular way to get our message out to other people, and I'd love to support your podcast as well. Could you share with us a little bit about why you decided to create a podcast, what the name of it's going to be, and what the intent or the purpose of it is going to be?
Oh, man, yeah, that's a brilliant moment for me to share a little bit about the future of what I consider the film being, what I consider my marketing system being, and what I consider the chiropractic documentary being. Is it's all self-branding. And if we really want to market ourselves the right way, then we have to brand ourselves the right way. And we have to start connecting the dots with ourselves, like I mentioned earlier. We have to connect our dots with the people that matter. And what I want to do is further self-brand myself, but also brand chiropractic the right way with the right market. And I want to bring chiropractors in touch with entrepreneurs. So the future podcast will be called Jim Chester, the Chiropreneur. And the method behind the podcast is to marry chiropractors with entrepreneurs and to bring them together to facilitate more creative process on how to market and develop the profession to get to more people.
Dan, what an innovative idea, right? So Jim already understands that chiropractic itself needs no fixing, but the way that we market it and share it with the masses, you know, we certainly have a long way to go, and he's dedicated to doing that. So everybody stay tuned, and we'll make an announcement when he launches this podcast so that you guys can take advantage of that, especially the other chiropractors who are listening on the phone today. This is going to be really an important project to stay in tune with. So, Jim, thank you so much for sharing. As always, we love having these guests. Here in the Metro East, we're dedicated to helping people live as high a quality of life for as long as possible. We talked about maximizing human potential, looking at functionality of the human body, and not just aches and pains and signs and symptoms. So we actually have testing in our office. Jim can refer you to chiropractors who have testing that can literally test your central nerve system's ability to adapt to stress. And in many offices, which we're excited to announce that this week, we're actually introducing the availability of lab panels. You know, we're actually doing blood draws now in our office so that we can look at biochemical profiles and give you real information, not just if this number's high, you need that drug. We're going to look at all of the numbers and talk about how your lifestyle is impacting not only your central nerve system, but now all of a sudden your blood panel profiles, your biochemical profiles. So, Jim, thank you so much for sharing. This has been another episode of Wellness Works. We want to thank Karen Aycock for her Natural Mom Minute. And you guys keep Jim Chester on your radar. He's out there making waves and really making the world a better place to live. Thank you, guys. Stay tuned for our next podcast, and God bless.